I've been really trying my best to give XDefiant the time that I feel a AAA FPS deserves, to experience all the game has to offer, get a real hands-on with the game, go in depth with things like weapon customization and looking through the in-game store to really formulate an in-depth review. But if I can be honest, I can't stand to play this game for more than a match or two before I'm Alt F4ing, because it's the quickest way out of the game. I want to start this video off by saying I don't really give a shit if you like it or not. I'm not here to attack anybody. If you enjoy the game, that's fantastic. I'm glad you're getting it in. That's great. It's a free-to-play game, and if you can get some hours out of it and you fucking love it, that's great. For the last 3 years, I've watched XDefiant go from announcement to playtest to playtest to delay to playtest to delay to playtest. I don't think I've ever seen a game publicly playtest as much as XDefiant has leading up to this launch, yet still has core issues with their design that have been present since day one of playing the fucking game. And I do feel like Frosty summed it up best here in this tweet. I put a tweet out saying, like, I don't want this video to come off as me just being a fucking hater, because genuinely every time a playtest has happened, I have jumped back into the game to give it a chance, because for a lot of reasons, and I think I've explained it in past videos, I want this game to be successful. Regardless of what my opinion is of the game, I think their post-launch support is some of the best that we have seen in the industry for a live service title, for a free-to-play title. If they can get it right, they can get it right. I don't have to like the game, but I still want it to be successful. But Frosty put a tweet here and he says, "It's truly unfortunate because I don't think people really understand how much guys like us actually want a COD competitor and or an alternative." He says this game just isn't it, and I feel the same way. It's just not that COD alternative for me. Personally, I think Shatterline is that COD alternative for me, but Shatterline is all but dead because people just don't want to give it the time of day for a lot of different reasons, and that sucks. Hit reg and desync are a major issue that I've been seeing talked about since their very first playtest, and I'm not sure how Ubisoft, a billion-dollar studio, puts out something with this much lag. With that said, I do think in time they're gonna figure that out, but getting shot when you're clearly behind cover is something I'm just kind of over with from these major studios with so much money to invest in this tech, and they just, like, I've been playing games for 20 years and it still just feels fucked. Talking about those kind of issues in a video, though, is always going to be met with comments going, "Yeah, but they'll fix it. It's the first couple of days. Just give them time." Like I said, I mean, I'm 20 years into playing PvP, and the shit is still just a major problem in all games, XDefiant being one of them. Talking about the game itself, though, am I the only one who feels like I just booted up a 360 arcade game and went to town? The game just feels dated in almost every aspect, and not in a good way. The movement is incredibly stiff. When you die, the camera just pulls back to a static death animation. Sometimes you get frozen in that animation. It's very weird. It's kind of lifeless. You have crouch sliding, which then you can use to elevate into a jump, which works well, I guess. The movement there is crackheady, so for those who like that arcade style movement, it's there. I don't think it's on the same level as Call of Duty personally. I think COD's player controller, in terms of like the smoothness of the animation transitions, the movement, I think is just, it's a better feeling game than XDefiant. There's no prone in this game too, which I think definitely lends itself to that feeling dated in comparison to other games like Call of Duty. But I also don't think this game is built for prone like that. It's more of like a hero shooter with a bunch of different abilities, and I think the way the visuals are built, which in my opinion are also fucking dated, we'll talk about that in a little bit, I don't think it would lend itself well to have prone in the game anyway. So while that's not a problem, it's just something to bring up in comparison to Call of Duty, which everybody has been doing for years now. And I gotta say, like, playing them both, like, I don't really get the comparison. Recoil is a very weird thing to describe. I was streaming the other day and I said, like, the best way to describe it is if somebody is just like grabbing the side of your gun and pulling it towards them and then like letting go. It's got this weird side pull that, you know, you'd think would be described and explained with horizontal recoil stats on weapons, but the actual like gunplay just feels so stiff and weird. And the thing is, like, I know, I already know the amount of people that are just gonna comment and go, it's just a skill issue, you're just bad at the game. Look, I love a good crackhead shooter. I've played, you know, the Call of Duties, I played games like Shatterline, I've played games like Iron Sight, I've played this. I think out of all of those games, like Iron Sight, Shatterline, Call of Duty, I do think XDefiant is the worst feeling shooter in terms of movement, player controller, and recoil, and just the gunplay itself. There's just something that's really off about it. And I can get kills in this game. Every single game that I have played of XDefiant since it's come out, I have been at the top of my team every single time. But it just doesn't feel satisfying to get kills. Like, it doesn't feel satisfying to get kills. You die, you respawn, and it's just like, it's like we're going through the motions of a game that still has like another 4 years of figuring shit out. I don't know, man. I just don't get it. I do think one aspect of that feeling soulless game feel is the visuals. I do think that the visuals, like, I think the game visually looks kind of terrible. Like, it does not look like a game that should have come out in 2024. Free-to-play game or not, compare this game, a billion-dollar studio, to Shatterline. Hell, compare this game, billion-dollar studio, to a game like Iron Sight, which is a free-to-play Call of Duty alternative. Like, that's what XDefiant is playing with, but it's being made by one of the largest studios in the fucking world. I guess for me, I feel like I expect a little more. Look, I'm glad people are enjoying it. I just think like everything about this game is dated to fuck. Like, I know they've been working on it for quite a few years. This feels like I'm teleporting back to 2013 and not in a good way. Like I said, the UI, like navigating menus, like, look, I know Call of Duty's menus are fucking garbage. They've been trash for years. I get it. They're convoluted. They're complicated. This game looks like something that like an asset flipper would put on the store for a couple of dollars. It's just so basic, and I'll be honest, it's kind of gross to look at. I like the simplicity of it, and I think they could get away with a facelift on that. Like, it just doesn't look fucking good. But I will say, navigating the menus, like I said, it's simple. It's straight to the point, which is something I think a lot of people have been looking for from a Call of Duty alternative. We don't need to go through a million different menus. We don't need to look at a bunch of different attachments and camos that are split in a horizontal menu. I get it. I get it. This serves the purpose, but I just do think it's a fucking ugly looking UI. The HUD itself, when you're in game, I think is kind of terrible. It serves its purpose, yes, but it looks like something out of a 2012 shooter, and I just don't understand it. The directional hit markers to show you where you're getting shot from, like, there's just like, I don't know, it feels like they just threw a bunch of shit together and was just like, hey, that functions. And like, I'm glad that it functions. At the end of the day, if you're somebody who like is so down bad when it comes to PvP that you just want something that works, you're gonna have fun here. You know, I feel like maybe my bar for quality is just a little bit higher than what they're delivering here. That being said, I said this on stream the other day too, as much as I don't fucking like this game, and I actually don't think I'm going to be back to it, I never ever want to write Ubisoft off in this regard, because as we saw with Rainbow Six Siege, that game went from kind of an okay, like, you know, functioning game back in 2015 when it launched, and they managed to take that and run with it and turn it into the behemoth PvP experience that it is now. And I think if they give XDefiant enough time and enough love, they could turn it into something that has a whole whack of polish on top of it. I just think for me personally, it's too dated to make me want to care about the game's future, which it sounds savage, but it just is what it is. I've had a lot of people come through to streams and ask me why I'm not playing XDefiant or like what are my thoughts on XDefiant, so I wanted to get a video out there. But personally, I think for me, it's filling a void in a market that I don't actually want to see filled. Like for me, I don't need to play Call of Duty from 2012, you know, with the stiffer movement and the more straightforward gameplay. I'm not looking for that experience anymore. And I think that's why a lot of people are gravitating towards this game. You have no skill-based matchmaking, which I think is fucking awesome. I've noticed that in every game that I've played of XDefiant, it's been like a mix mash of different skills. And I think that's cool. For the people who are a little bit less skilled, you're playing on a team with better players and they're carrying you through. I think like just seeing it that does feel better. The main issues that I have with the game is just the fact that it just feels so stiff, lifeless, and dated. And I know there's a lot of COD players who are frustrated with the way that the game is going and the way that franchise has shifted from just quality titles to algorithmic skill-based matchmaking and optimizing it so that your experience, it's just all algorithms and math to get you to be in the game, be in the ecosystem, and spend money. So I can understand the frustration there, and you're looking for an alternative. I just don't think that XDefiant delivers on the gameplay aspect for me, and that's just really unfortunate because there is a lot of content up front in a free-to-play title, something that we don't really see a lot of. You have 6 game modes at launch: Escort, Zone Control, Domination, Occupy, as well as 14 maps to jump into at launch, with plans of bringing, I believe it's 3 maps a season, which is just insane for a live service title, a free-to-play one at that, with bundles in the store that you can purchase for, you know, your cosmetic needs. It has a lot of good things going for it. I wish I loved the gameplay. And the thing is I know that they're already successful. I think they said they already had 2 million players play in the first 2 days. That's actually insane. I'm curious to see what the long-term, you know, growth is of this title and where that player base, obviously the players are going to decline, but where is it going to end up? Is it going to be enough to keep the game running? I genuinely, as much as I don't like the game, I hope that they're successful, because I think Ubisoft can deliver on multiplayer experiences that people actually want to play. And clearly there's a group of people clamoring for this kind of title, and I'm curious to see where it goes in the future. But with that said, guys, let me know what you think of XDefiant down below. Are you playing it? Are you fucking with it? Let me know why. Give me like 2 or 3 reasons why you're fucking with XDefiant or why you're not fucking with XDefiant, and let's have a conversation down below. This is one of those games where it's like, I think the game sucks, but I'm not really mad about it. You know what I mean? It's not a scam. It's not like taking your money. It's not cheese ball shit. It's just a game that I just don't think is very good. And that's really what it comes down to. My name is BigfryTV. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.